Hello, Internet. This is LordMaddog, and today we're talking about Axium's box and how I've made it moddable. Well, to an extent. You see, I am not a big company, and I have limited times and resources, so I can't actually make the tools so you can actually mod the game inside itself. What I've done, however, is released the source code of the game, which means it's now completely and totally moddable. And I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly how to do that. But first, we're going to need a couple things. First things we're going to need is Workshop Downloader. Now, this little program here, actually probably put this down there. Little program here allows you to download a file from the net. Since my game does not have the downloading capability inside itself, you need this little program, and I will put a link in the description on how it works. You also will need Steam Workshop Uploader and probably some type of 3D modding program to really make things a lot easier to do what you need to do. And so like Maya or 3D Max or Blender. Blender's free. So, okay. Then you will also need to download and install Unreal Engine 5.0.3 because that's what my game is made in. I have not upgraded the game to 5.1.1 because of bugs in 5.1.1 that annoy me that really just and also I'd have to fix a lot of things. It's just not worth it. Okay. And I don't think I'm ever going to upgrade, and I might do it later on. But anyway, you're going to need this. And then after you have all these three tools, four if you have a modeling program, you're going to want to go ahead and you're going to need to go to my Steam page, go to Community Hub, or you're going to need to go to Workshop. And then right now, the only file here is because I've just uploaded this, is Axium's box source code. This is what you need. You need to take this file location, copy, and put it into here. And it'll automatically find the web page home, and then it will, all right there. Then you want to make sure it's on Steam command, and if you encounter some problems, you may need to log out of Steam. Sometimes Steam doesn't like you doing this. I don't know why, don't ask me. Then you go ahead and hit download. Now, this is going to take a while because it's a 26 gigabyte file. It's the source code, okay? Then after you finally get it, it'll go ahead and open up the file location. What you'll get is a zip file called Axium's box, and inside Axium's box, this is what it will look like. This right here, you double click on it or right click and hit open. It will open Axium's box. If you have Unreal Engine installed 5.1, it'll open it up, and this is what you'll see here. Now, the first thing you're going to probably want to do is go File, Open Level. Oh, there it is, because I have it open already. Because that Open Level, and you're going to want to find right down here, past my assets, there's going to be My Levels. You're going to want to open Jumper, and this is the main hub of the game where everything basically starts. What you originally start in is Jumper main level, which will actually allow you to play the game if you hit play, but you're going to want to open Jumper. That way you can just don't have to load it every time. Then you can hit play, and you'll actually be able to play inside the editor in the world. Okay, so yeah, and you'll be able to change everything in here that you want. Now, I suggest that you kind of beat the game before you go actually go try and look at any of the actual things up there or all that, because you will ruin the game for yourself. But if you want to add like customizations to the game, that's what we're going to cover today, is how to add customizations to the game. So like, let's go ahead and put my sunglasses on, put my jacket on, and give myself the divine blade. I have lots of points because I've done the achievements here. So yeah, you can see. So we're going to talk about how to add different customizations for the character and changes and stuff. That's what we're going to basically cover today. So the first thing you're going to need to do after you have that, you're going to want to go into My Assets, Meshes, and you're going to want to export Asset Actions, export Desktop or wherever you want, export MS Eric. That's the main character. That's what you're going to need to export. Also, if let's say you're going to add a hat or a crown or something like that. So you're going to go models, because these things don't have to be, what do they call it? Bound to the mesh. So models are considered things mesh are considered things that are actually bound to a skeleton. Skin bind to skeleton, and models are considered things that are not skin bind. They're just basically, they're all still 3D models. So we're going to go ahead and export this circuit mess here as well, because I'm going to be adding a motorcycle helmet today. Export, desktop, circlet, save. Okay, export. Next you're going to need is whatever you're going to be adding to the game. In my case, we are adding this motorcycle helmet by Tom Verbeek to the game. So now you're going to need to go ahead and load up your modeling program. In my case, it's Maya, and I've already started a bit. You see here, I've already imported the helmet, and I've already imported Eric into the game. Now, I'm going to need to resize the helmet and to make sure it fits, because you see right here, that's not going to work. So I'm going to need to resize it to make sure it fits. I might also need to use a latex mesh and to reshape it around the head, depending what program you are. I'm not sure exactly how that works in Blender because I don't use Blender. But see, like, I'll go ahead and screw this down here, make it more less conform to the head. Oh, in this case, I don't actually really need to use a latex, but I'll just show you what I mean because it can help change things here. Latex, deform, latex, and then you can change the full-on kind of like shapes. Like let's say whoever made your mask made it too narrow around the face, and you have in his face is sticking out on the sides here, like let's say like his head was there, his ear is sticking out, so you can actually just kind of pull this out slightly or reshape it. Like let's say I didn't want it to come out back as far as back here, different latex. Yeah, so I don't know exactly how that works in Blender. I think 3D Max is pretty much the same with latex because I've used 3D Max. And so there you reshape it, get it about the right size, and then after you have it about the right size, you know it's going to fit his head inside the game. You then import. You can delete this. Now, if you're going to be actually binding it to the mesh, now you can reshape it around the mesh. Like let's say I have a jacket, I have a coat jacket, I have some armor and everything. You can shape it around the character. And then bind it to the skin and just copy the skin weights. Usually that works. Sometimes you have to redo the little bit of skin weight. But if you know what you're doing with modeling programs and binding and everything, you know what I'm talking about. It just they're basic skills that not everybody should know, but you know that if you're doing this type of stuff, it's pretty easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get this the right shape, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I quickly reshaped this a bit. His hair was sticking out the top, so I just kind of reshaped the model a little bit to fit his hair and head in. Now we're going to go ahead and did I actually export that? Yes, I did. We're going to go ahead and import. Let me back up here. I have so many things open here. File, import file, circlet. All right. All right, so now we see here the circlet has its collision model, which doesn't really matter. I can just go ahead and delete that. I don't need that right there. We're going to go ahead and take this down, and we're going to realign it so it is going to be basically where we're going to want it. So this is the very top of the head. We can move the model inside the what's it called? So it's not a big deal, but we basically want to kind of get it where we think we're going to need it inside the game. It's going to help a lot later on. So we can also see that it's turned the wrong direction here. So okay, I have it right where I think I'm going to end up needing it in the end. So we're going to go ahead and delete the circlet. Now, you don't have to be exactly where you're going to need it because you're going to be, like I said, you can manipulate the changes and move it around and reshape it a little bit inside Unreal Engine. But you're also going to make sure that your pivot point is on however your program works. You want to make sure your pivot point is at your very 0 point in your map, because that's going to help you a lot when you need to move and shape it. So I'm going to go ahead and move my pivot point there. Then after we have the pivot point there, we're going to go ahead and freeze transformation, and we're going to edit, delete all type history, so it doesn't have anything on it, and then we can just go ahead and export it out as an XBX. Now, your XBX format is going to be different for each one of the programs you're using. For Maya, it's Z and X axis are backwards, so you're going to want to go ahead in your export settings and change whatever you need to change. You might need to go watch a couple of tutorials online how to get to work. So we're going to call this motor helmet. Okay, and export it on out. Now that we have exported it out, we're going to go ahead and come back to Unreal Engine, wherever it's at here, on the bottom of things I have tons of. We're going to also go to my model folder. We're going to go show in Explorer, and we're going to just simply drag and drop our motor helmet in here. And it will import it into Unreal Engine. We're going to go, you're going to want to, like I said, watch a tutorial. I already have my settings set. Your settings will be different for every program you use. So import the helmet, and it will appear in here. And now we need to go ahead and go about setting up our texture for this thing. After we get it open here, motor helmet. Okay, so you see here, it's all in there perfectly fine. It's got one texture. Now we're gonna go ahead and make our texture. We're gonna go to my materials, and it'll be, you're gonna probably wanna make a file specifically for your mod. So you're gonna probably wanna make a new file folder for your texture, your textures, or you won't have to, but it'll be easier if someone else wants to use your mod as well and combine it together or use it with what they've got. So you're probably going to want to add a new folder. In my case, I'm not going to add a new folder because I already got, actually, I'm going to add a new folder. New folder, helmet, right there. This is my textures. I'm going to go ahead and open this. Show in Explorer. You want to keep track of wherever you put anything, your files in here, because you're not going to want to upload the whole thing again. That's 26 gigabytes. You're just going to want to go ahead and upload the files that you change. So make sure you put them in files and folders that you can specifically put out. And then you're going to want to make it so people know exactly where to put them and exactly what they need to change to get it in there. So we're going to go ahead and I had downloaded this helmet. Oh, yeah, here. Source file, yes. I need to grab textures for motor helmet. We're going to drag and drop the textures for, I have way too many things open. Here we are. There we are. That's imported those textures. Woohoo. Now those will automatically import into Unreal Engine. If you need to know about how to make different textures and whatnot, there's tons of tutorials online. Okay, we're now a content drawer. We're going to go ahead and create a new material. This is we're going to call it helmet. We're going to go ahead and go back to my content drawer. We're going to drag and drop all of these into here. And connect them up to the necessary things. So this is my roughness. This is my metallic. This is my base color. And this is my emissive. Okay, so emissive to emissive color. Texture sample, roughness to roughness. Oh, this thing does not have its own tangent space. We'll see how that turns out. It might not need its own tangent space. You can usually use the base color in what is it called? In Photoshop or some other program to generate a tangent space. It usually works pretty good if you need one to kind of make it have like was it metallic? Yes. to make it have like a bump mapping. Basically what it is, kind of like a bump mapping. It's a more advanced bump mapping, but yes, that's bump mapping. There we are. We're going to go ahead and save our texture here. Then we're going to go ahead and come back over to multiply. We're going to apply it here in motor and helmet. There we are. And now it's textured in the thing. I actually do think it probably could benefit from some bump mapping, but right now we're just going to leave it at that. Okay. Now to get this on the character, we're going to go ahead and open the player. So how to open the player blueprint, we're going to go into My Assets. The player blueprint is right here in My Assets. We're going to open that up, and there's a lot of different stuff in here going on. Now, if you want to like change, this is where you can change almost anything in the game related to the character. Like down over here, you can see this is the different skills and stuff that he unlocks as he plays along. Like I said, though, you're going to want to actually beat the game before you go messing with this stuff and changing different things. You might want to refine some of my coding, and I've made it pretty coherent, exactly showing exactly what each one of the coding did. Normally, you don't want to do all of this in one giant thing like I did, but I did it for convenience because I like convenience. Now, a lot of different people in Unreal Engine have different ways about going about things. I like things all in one location that I can see and screw them at, but the only problem with that is you eventually do get a little bit slow doing stuff like that. Like you can see, this is slightly laggy inside this one area, but I'm fine with it. Now, since we are importing a non-skinned mesh, we're going to use this here. We're going to go ahead and duplicate it, Control D. This is the node I have for importing non-skin mesh. Okay, we're going to open it up. Oh, before we need to do that, we're going to need to actually make the blueprint we're going to import for that. Yeah, that's what I forgot to do that. So we're going to go down here to my blueprints. We're going to find sunglasses or circlet. We're going to find the blueprint for circlet. Now we're going to make a child of, or is this the one? Which one was the original? The original, I think crown for this case was my original. Is this a child of something already? I think this one's already a child of something. If it's a child of something already, I can just make a duplicate of it. Yes, this is a child of something. Okay, so there we are. This is a child of crown. That's right, I remember now. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate. We're going to call this helmet. Boop, boop. And we're going to open full editor because it is a child of. Now, we're going to go back to viewport. And we're going to go ahead and replace this. We're going to come over to the model over here, the static mesh model, and we're going to replace it with my helmet. Motor helmet. Boom. Now, we replaced it, and that's all we basically should have to do in here except for when we go to rearrange to make sure it actually fits on the character's head. So let's go ahead and bring this. We're going to move. I don't need any of these things open anymore, so whatever. All right. Now that we've created the helmet one, we can double click in here and what this does is spawn the character, and it tells it locks it to the location. This was the head socket because we're going to spawn it on top of the head. We want it to lock to that. And it's very simple blueprinting. It's not something you need to get into. It's not something you even need to know. It's just very easy to do. So you go look for your helmet, blueprint, helmet. There we go. Go back to event graph. Here we are. Because I double clicked on it, I sort of actually opened it in a new window. And now they go back here. Here we are. We're going to rename this to spawn sunglasses. We're going to rename it to helmet spawn. Spawn. Enter. I've renamed it. Now we're going to use, for the time being, we're just going to bind it to the key K, and you can bind it to any key. So I just key and then the key you want. And then you scroll down and find A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever you're binding it to. Right now, we're just going to bind it temporarily to key K. We're going to actually later on use it to make it so you can put it on with a interface. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and hit this. Hit play inside the game. It'll load it up. And then we're going to hit... Oh, well, we have a streaming pool problem here. That's not a big deal. You might want to memorize this command right here, because as long as you have enough memory to actually do that. There we are. K. There we are. Now we see it is on him. However, I don't like how narrow it is. It's kind of a little bit too narrow. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's slightly too narrow. We're going to go ahead and reopen. It'll be down here in the bottom now because I didn't get it where I wanted it. But okay, it's fine. All right. We're going to go ahead and increase its scale in the Z axis a little bit. So we can either hit R to get that, do it this way, or we can come over here. I'm going to do it this way. We're going to go ahead and make it 9 there. And put this back down, hit play, see if the changes we did. Make it work. Okay. Yes, that's much better. His head doesn't look too narrow. And yeah. Woohoo! Now, you could also make that screen play see-through. And in fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and make that screen slightly see-through. And that's easy enough by going back to your model before you exported it. We're going to go ahead and select one face here. Face. This is with Maya. I can expand the selection by shift in the what is that key? Arrow, the little period key. Period key. Shift in the period key. All right. Now that I've selected everything that belongs to the face mask, we're going to assign a new material to it. Just right now, we're going to go ahead and put a blend. It doesn't matter what material you assign to it. It's fine because we're going to assign our own custom material inside Maya. But basically this does is makes it so I can assign a new material to it. So we're going to go ahead and once again, file, export selection. Now you're going to want to make sure you keep it at the same name, because if you don't, it won't overwrite it inside it. So I had removed it from my desktop by pushing it in there. So let's go ahead and once again, motor helmet, just copy it in there instead of replace it. There we go. Now in Unreal and Axiom's box, Unreal Engine, it'll import it in here real quick. Come on, open up. Okay, and hit done. As it imports it in, we will open the file, and you see here now it has a different texture on it. We're going to go ahead and put our own custom texture on here. I already have a dark glass that I want to apply to it. Glass texture, dark. Oh. Darker. There we are. And yep, I think this is exactly what we want. Close this down, hit play in the game, and hit K. Boom. You can now see them. I could make the glass darker, but now I think for this example, I think this works perfectly fine. And one thing we are noticing, because you can now see through it, you can actually see through the whole helmet, and that's kind of looking. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our other material, the helmet material, and we're going to go down here, click on this. We're going to go down and make it two-sided, and we'll hit save. That's that simple. It's way easier than any other game engine that I've used, because normally to make game engines, to make something two-sided, texture two-sided, it's really a pain. There we go. Now we're not seeing straight on through the whole thing. Okay, now that we've got it basically where we want it, we now need to make it so we can open it up with this menu and equip it and unequip it with this menu. Stuff underneath there. So to do this, you're going to need to probably watch it a couple times and make sure you watch it very closely, because up until this point we've basically been doing default Unreal Engine stuff. Now this stuff is actually going to be specifically pertaining to my game, not just Unreal Engine. So we're going to go ahead and go back into player. We're going to need to do a couple things with inside player first. We're going to go ahead and make a boolean, a variable, bool. Boolean, yes. That pertains specifically to your modded item. In this case, it's going to be my helmet. So we're going to go ahead and just duplicate this one right here. So Control D to duplicate it. We're going to call this one helmet active. There we are. And you can just go ahead and copy this down here. Duplicate, because this is basically a flip and flop using booleans. Oops. Whoops, double duplicated it. Come on, undo that. Thank you. There we are. We can put this in here. We don't need you here anymore, so we're going to move you out of the way. I use K just because it's what I use mostly. Now we're going to probably move all this up a bit. All right. I'm going to connect this one to here, this one to here, and we're going to now create a interface key thing for being able to do it back and forth. Now, this is where we're going to have some problems if you're going to try to load multiple mods that change things inside the game. To get that to work, you're going to need to make these things will override each other. So if I go changing achievements, it's going to override the other one's achievements. So you may want to actually start and make your own interface. So instead, you could just go into blueprints, blueprints. You want to go into, do I have an interface folder? Oh, you know what? I don't actually have an interface folder. I thought I sure did, but I guess I don't. Yes, I do. Interface folder, and you can create your own interface here. You need to read up a little bit on interfaces if you want to. They're really easy to understand. Well, I say that because I've been doing it for a long time, but it may not. But okay, so for my case, we're just going to go and add it to my achievements interface. We're going to go ahead and add a function. We're going to add helmet met. Yep, that's it. And just helmet. We're going to compile it, save, and we're going to, if you're creating your own interface, you're going to want to go up to class settings, and you're going to want to add your interface implanting. You just hit add your interface here. That's not a big deal. But that means that people are also going to have to add it, your interface to their player character when they edit it as well. I'm not, like I said, I don't have the tools to make it so every mod is going to be compatible with each other. Every mod is going to actually have to be integrated into each one if you want to have more than one mod active at a time. They'll most likely be conflicting because the way everything's programmed, and I didn't exactly program it to be non-conflicting. However, if a mod gets a lot of upvotes, I can, I can just pretty much do it even if they don't do it that well. I can go ahead and integrate it into the main game. So don't worry too much about it. Most people will just look at your mod, and if they like it, then I most likely will integrate it into the game with appropriate credits, of course, and maybe depending on how much effort you put into it, I might even give a free Steam game to you, free key to you. Okay, so now that I have the interface active, I can actually go ahead and call on that interface. We're going to go ahead and just call helmet. We'll make sure we're going to add action helmet. Here we go. It's now popped into existence. We're going to go ahead and plug that right into here. And move this around. And we're basically now... Oh, oops. No, I need to replace these here. Doop. With the helmet one. So you just drag and drop your boolean on top of these booleans until it says the helmet active one. There we are. Now, going to go ahead and, because I like to keep things clean, we're going to go helmet. I probably should have come up with a better name than just calling it helmet, but that's fine. There we are. And we're going to go ahead and increase the size of this achievement thingy and put this in here just because I'm a neat freak. I like everything right where they go. And you probably should be too if you're going to be wanting people add and change, put your mod into their game as well. Okay, now that that's done, we come back. We can go to the status screen. We can go ahead and open the status screen widget, which is a UI setup. We're gonna go. You can go into My Assets. It'll be inside My Assets. It'll go to UI, and it'll be, you type status at the top, it'll be right here, status screen, and you just click it out and open it. And this is what the status screen looks like. This is on the long side here is what we're going to be messing with. These are the keys, and then you have the cost and whatnot there. So this is really easy. I know it might look like it's going to be overwhelming, but it's not. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to select two of these, right? Like any one you want. I'm going to use jacket, and we're going to hit Control D, which will duplicate them. Oh, Control. Oh, can only do one at a time. My bad. And duplicate. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and drag the cost one back underneath jacket. We're going to rename this to helmet. F2 or double click it. Mit. Okay, we're going to change the cost to 10. This is just the visual representation of the cost. Oops. All right, no, that's it. We don't rename that there. We name it over here. But first, we're going to also rename the button. What your button's going to be shown. This here actually affects what's shown inside the button. We're just going to call helmet. Okay, and enter. Then we're going to go down to the 0 one. So you see right here, it's right here now. We're going to change the cost. We're going to make this cost 10 achievement points to activate. All right, and now that we've got this done, we'll come over here, hit graph, and we're right here. So we still have the helmet selected. We are going to hit on base button clicked. It'll be on this side, base button clicked. Boom. There we are. It'll create this. We're going to come over here. We're going to take what's here already, and we're going to duplicate it. Now, this just is so easiness, and I'll explain exactly what each one does here in a second. We're going to connect this into right there. Now, the player, this right here is the reference to your player. We're going to go ahead and delete, because this is the sunglasses one. We're going to go ahead and pull off of this, and since we named our thing helmet active, we're going to type helmet active. We'll get, not set, we'll want get, and we'll plug that into here. What that does is it looks for it's a reference to the player. It looks if the player boolean is active. If it's active, then not if it is or not active, it does two different things accordingly. Okay, so here we are. This is the game instance. This is where my achievement points are calculated. This here will tell you how, if it's less than, equal to, or less than, if it'll allow to activate this or not activate it. All right. So this is your cost, what you want to have it cost. All right. And over here, this is what you're going to have it minus 10 points, whatever you have it cost. And then when it's done, you're going to have it add 10 points. Okay, and if you're not able to, it will do this. So we're going to need to change these messages. Information's back here. We're going to go ahead and helmet message. I'm going to grab the helmet message. And duplicate again. plug this into here, make sure it's plugged into player, and compile, save. What happened? Oh, I did not compile my player. See, I'm getting this error because I forgot to compile my player after I made this boolean. So the reference to it's not like, where's this boolean at? And now it'll work perfectly fine. We hit compile. There we go. Now we hit play. See, we go helmet. Boom. Right there, and that's it. You're done. That's how you add into the game. You save. Make sure you save, and you might want to put all your files in your mod folder when you're creating it, instead of put in models like where I put it, and whatnot. So because I put it in my specific areas, but if you're going to want to make it so other people can use it and not just have only your mod, you might want to actually make a folder underneath my assets or wherever you want it, your folder, and then you're just going to have a little small tutorial on how to fix it up. Now, if there are a few things that we can do to make things look a little prettier. Okay, right here. So right here, if you notice that when I click on helmet, this light does not light up, but if I have a jacket on, it lights up. This is easy enough to fix. You just go into my status screen. We're going to go active. This is a micro that I have, and you're going to go ahead and pull off your player. You're going to get helmet. No, wrong one. Get the status of the helmet here. One sec. I'm going to pull off that note there. Helmet. Get active. We're also going to go and make sure we have what is it called? Where is it at? Helmet. This is a reference to the button still. We're going to grab off this. Active. My bad. I typed helmet. So I'm like, what the word's going on out there? Get active. Oh no, set active. That's what we're on. Set. Set. Yes, active. There we are. I'll pop it into here, bring it on over, and we're going to pull this into here. And I'll set this, it'll check if the player has it active, and if the player has it active, it will activate it. That simple, that easy. It's not a big deal. Boop. And I have some things in. If you are actually integrating it full into the game, there is a couple other steps you could take to fully integrate it in the save file. So when you save and load, it'll be active if you have it active. However, that is not necessary because you're just trying to get your thing in the game and let other people see it. There we are. And that is how you mod my game, specifically for modding, adding different things to the character. I almost forgot. Sorry about that. If you want to add a mesh to the character, which, if we've already said, a mesh is something that's bound to the skeleton, this is the code you're going to want to use. Right here, you're going to replace this model right here with your mesh wherever you put it inside. In my case, I always put my mesh inside my assets mesh. So wherever you put it, you're going to want to change that mesh to this location right here, and that'll do it. Now, with this, by doing this though, it will enable you to equip. Let's say if you have a set of armor on the chest that you want to work. If you can activate it and the jacket at the same time, and there will be clipping between the two. It's not a big deal. You can just go turn off the jacket as well, so it won't clip. But you can, I made it so you can make it so that they will not clip. That'll automatically de-equip the one on the chest, but that one's a little bit more involved to get to work. This is the code you would be wanting to copy for that. This is the upper body armor slot, and this is the chest that you're changing. See, this is the upper body armor slot. See right here in the viewport, that is this. Well, it's not there because I don't have any armor on. That is that slot. You're going to want to change your mesh to right to whatever you want. And then inside the actual status screen, it's going to be a bit different. If you're going to be wanting to automatically de-equip the other one, you're going to need to add this long string of booleans on the end. So if it becomes activated, it'll check if these other things are active, and it'll check and automatically deactivate them, as you see here, and it'll set the point and give back the player back the points, achievement points that they need to have. Okay. And you'll need to make your own boolean and add that in there as well for all the other ones so they don't clip. But it's not something you have to do. It's just if you wanted to automatically unequip. And there's no real need for that. I just did it because I like to have a little bit cleaner things that people, so they're not going to have like a set of armor and the jacket on at the same time. But you don't have to do that. And that's pretty much it. LordMaddog, signing off.